This is Taylor. I'll be doing your kind of review, going over your work this week. I see that you photograph food. It's really cool. Most of the shots are pretty interesting, just kind of like skimming over. Went through them before a few times also. But yeah, this first shot is, I really like the composition. I really like being this close to the noodles. I really, even like the fork came out really interesting. It almost looks abstract for some reason, maybe just how the camera read it or the light is hitting it or the contrast within the noodles. It's something that makes it kind of pop out in a different way. And I enjoy that actually. Um, However, I would make it the exposure maybe could go up just a little bit, and it's something that has a little bit of a yellowish tint throughout the whole photograph, where the noodles especially could just be just maybe a little bit of a cooler tone. It's something that if you have access to Lightroom or Photoshop, anything like that, use one of those sliders to adjust the color balance a little bit would be great. And this is really great too. I really appreciate how close you're getting into the subjects. It looks like chopped wood sitting outside. And you know what? And I'm confused. They may be, they may not be. It looks more like mushrooms in a way too. So that's what I'm like trying to like figure out, like if they really are mushrooms or they wood. Does it like sticks? I mean, what are they exactly? And I'm sure that they're mushrooms, but still, it's like you're so close. You're kind of making the subject abstract, and I think that's really cool. I think I read before or read below that you're using your camera phone, which is okay, but I would really like is you only get like a very very tiny shallow depth of field. Where in this kind of photograph, I'd want to see like all of it. I want to see like this whole frame like really really sharp instead of just this one little point. And I don't know how flexible your phone and your camera phone is to allow you to get more depth of field or not. But something that I would look or try to do if possible. And this is really nice too. Again, you're kind of like pushing the abstract. I mean, we know that it's a mushroom, but you're kind of pushing the typical idea of what it is, and I appreciate that. And the exposure looks really good on this. Yeah, it's a solid photograph. Again, just kind of like the point of focus is like right in here, and maybe I'd want to see more. Well, I mean, as I'm saying it, maybe it's really not necessary. It kind of works okay in this one. Um, but similarly, like I would want maybe to see more things in focus, but I think it works okay in this photograph. And this one for me, it's interesting, but it's not quite as beautiful as the other ones. And that's okay. Not all photographs should be necessarily beautiful. Um, I would again, it's like the color balance is like a little bit off. I would like to see a little bit less yellow. I know it's probably underneath a yellow light, but just to kind of neutralize it a little bit so it's not quite as off. Like when you look at this blue, I want to see this just a little bit cooler also. Again, I appreciate you're getting so close, but this, it kind of breaks down a little bit, like the lighting doesn't quite work. You get this bright highlight right here, which is a little bit distracting when I really want to focus on like these like really beautiful shape within these like noodles. Um, yeah, so I want to see it sharper, and I want to see that color balance too. Again, is another kind of theme with this one. Is I want to see it a cooler color and not quite as yellow. Um, yeah, I like it. I do like that you're so close though, and it's pushing the abstract quality. And same thing here too, really close. I like all this. I love this little detail right here. Um, yeah, this one's really successful, I think. The lighting is great, and the composition is nice too. Kind of like this pile, everything leading up. So yeah, very nice. Again, going back to the color balance, just it's yellow overall. It almost looks like maybe a filter was used. I don't know if you are using filters. If you are, like, try not to. They become kind of gimmicky in a way and can distract from just like a straight photograph, and hopefully that makes sense to you. Um, yeah, I like what you're doing though, and I like a lot of what you're doing. I like these close-ups. This is great. This being so close and these kind of in the foreground. Yeah, your compositions are really strong overall. I think this is from last week. Uh, yeah, your compositions are really strong overall. Just color balance here and there. This one here could be exposed a little bit more. The thing that I would push you with for like your next project is just your maybe conceptually. You're photographing food. So like here's some straight photographs of food. I like this starts to break it down a little bit more, though it starts to push that idea of food further. And if you were to do on your next project, instead of like here's your food and like how this starts to break it down further in your next project, how could you go further? Whether it's abstraction or conceptually, if it's use of shadow, use of light. Um, think in terms of not quite as literally for your future projects. But yeah, I look forward to seeing what you do next. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me.